In JavaScript, an object is a collection of properties defined as key-value pairs. Each property has key and value. So let's see object in action. To create an object, we use object literal syntax. Let's create an empty object. We say let empty equal to an empty object. And to create an object with the properties, we say let, for example, person equal to an object in the properties or first name for example John, and the second property we put last name Smith. So in this object person we have two properties, first name and last name. The keys are first name and the value is John, and the second property the key is last name and the value is Smith. So that's why the object in JavaScript is called key value pairs. We have the key and then we have the value. And to access an object property we're going to use the dot notation or array like notation. So I'm going to use the dot notation first. We put the person dot property name. The property name is first name, and then I'm going to console.log the person first name. Okay, so the person dot first name is John. The second way we can access the object property is array like notation. We say console.log, we put the object name which is person, and then we put the bracket. Inside the bracket we put the property name, for example last name. Okay, so here the first name is John and the last name is Smith. So this was the two way to access the property of an object, dot notation and bracket notation. And if we have another property, let's say building number, we cannot put the space in and the property, so we need to put it inside. If we have a space we need to put it inside the quotation, so I'm going to put it in the quotation. And this is not always the best practice to have a space in the names, so we always need to use the camel notation. Like here we have first name and we have two words, the first word and then the second word we put the first letter as capitalized. So but if we have that a property that has a space, we can still access it. So let's say property building number 22, and if we wanted to access that property building number we must use the bracket notation or array like notation, because we cannot access it with the dot notation. So if I wanted to access the building number I must use the person and then the bracket, inside the bracket building number. And if I wanted to access it with the dot notation I cannot access, so let me try with the dot notation. Here we see that we cannot access it. The JavaScript will give us an error, and if we have that property that has a space we need to access it with the bracket. So I'm going to put it inside the bracket and then quotation. Now I can access that property which is 22. Okay, so to delete a property, first let me put this in the camel case. So I say building number. So this is always the best practice to use the camel case. And let me comment this line. And if we wanted to change the value of a property, we can say, for example, I want to change the building number. I say person dot building number, we use the equal and then we put the new value, for example 44. And then now if I console.log person dot building number, and now it is 44, and the object that originally we created, it was 22. So if we wanted to change the value, we say object dot property name, which is the person dot building number, equal to the new value. And to delete the property, we can say the person. For example, I want to delete the building number. I put the delete before the object. We say delete person dot building, and then now we console.log building number. It says undefined because the building number property was already deleted here. Okay. And to check if we have a property in the object or not, we can say console.log, and if we have several properties in the object and we don't know if the property that we want, if it exists in the object or not, we can say for example, I want to check if this object has last name or not. I put the last name, and then I say n person. It says true, the result says true because we have last name in the object. And then if we don't have the property that does not exist, for example, we say SSN, it says false, so we don't have the SSN. And this was to check that if we have the property in the object, and if we wanted to loop in our object, we can say for let key in object. So our object is person, and I want to loop in the object and then access all of the elements in the object. So we say for let key in the person, okay, and then I can say console.log, and if I wanted to access the keys in this object, all the keys, I can say key. So now it will give me all of the keys in this object. So the keys are first name, last name, and building. And then if we want the values, all the values, we need to say person, which is the object, and then we say key. So here we accessed both the keys and the values, and if I want to remove the keys, I can remove the key, and now we only have the values in this loop. We can also have functions inside our object. So let me create a function. I want to have a function by name say hello, and then in say hello I'm going to put the function. This function is going to say console.log hello I am, and then I put this dot first name. So here we have function say hello, and the function will say hello I am, and then to access the properties of the object we can say this dot first name. And then now let me call the function. I can simply say person dot say hello, and then we need to call the function. Okay, so here it says hello I'm John, and whenever we have function in an object, it is called method. So here we have method, let's say that the name of the method is say hello. So all the functions that are inside the object are called methods. This was all about objects in JavaScript. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.